Okay, here we go. Exponential functions 2024. Really, we're just going to look at graphs today. And so, first of all, let's look at the parent function. And the parent function is just something we can look at to get an understanding of what exponential graphs look like. In this case, we're looking where our base is 2, and we notice some things. First of all, we notice that it goes through the y-axis at 1. And then we also notice, see how down here, this part down here, as we're going through this way, it doesn't look like it's ever going to cut through the x-axis. And that's true. What we actually have here that you can't see is we have an asymptote right here. It's a horizontal asymptote right here. And our exponential graph will never cut through there. So to understand them a little bit better, I'm going to ask you to pause this video and get your yellow calculators out. And so go ahead and do that, pause, and come back with your calculators. And then let's go ahead and hopefully you're back. Let's look at our calculator and remind ourselves how to use the table function in a calculator. So on the test, you're going to see, just like this, that we've got to fill in a table. Well, we know better. We can just rely on our calculator to do that for us. We don't have to do that anymore. So let's go ahead and remember how to do this. First, we see that right here, right? We've got, let me do a better color that we can see. Right there, we've got the table button, so we push that first, right? And then we'll see y equals when we push that table button. And then we're going to go ahead and go back and we're looking at 2 to the x. So we'll put a 2 in, and then the next thing we want to do is hit this up button right there. After you put the 2, hit the up button, and it will get you up here. And we want to put an x there. How do we get that x to be up there? We're going to push this button. All right, so now we've got y equals 2 to the x. We don't have that underlined, so let's get that away. And so let's go ahead and hit enter a couple more times, right? We're going to hit enter, enter, until we see our table. Okay, and you can scroll up, you can scroll down. You know how sometimes it says where to start? And I always tell my kids, oh, start at -10. Really? Doesn't matter where you start. You'll always be able to use these scroll buttons right here to go up or to go down the table. All right, so once we do that, let's go back here. So once we do that, we're looking at our table and we notice that we have a 1/2 for -1, we have a 1 for 0, and we have a 2 for 1. And that makes sense, right? I see all those points. I see 0, 1, I see 1, 2, and I see -1, 1/2, right? All those points are actually on our graph, which cool, right? And so what I want you to do is kind of explore and scroll up so that you see like -2, -3, and you'll notice that the numbers get smaller and smaller and smaller, but they never hit 0. So, oh, here we go. We've got an asymptote. So this asymptote, any line, remember, any line that's horizontal, that starts with y equals. So our asymptote is y equals 0. And our graph, y equals 2x, this part of our graph will never, ever, ever even touch. I know it looks like it's touching it, right? But it will never actually touch that yellow asymptote of y equals 0. All right, so that's a parent function, and all our exponential functions are going to look pretty similar to this. And so let's look at this next one. We've noticed, well, wait a minute, right here, that's the same thing as what we just saw, right? And we're just adding a 3. If we think about transformations, we'll be like, ooh, I bet this is going to be the same graph, right? But I bet we're going to take this point and raise it up 3. So let's see if you're right. That understanding is a good idea. And so what we're going to do, though, is we're going to be a little on the lazy side. Okay, maybe not lazy. We're going to be on the clever side. And we are going to, once again, pick up our calculator and make our table. So go ahead and pause the video and make your table, and then come back and check it with mine. Okay, I said pause. If you didn't pause, then you're back. Come on. Don't be so lazy. You've got to be able to do this on the test, so you want to be able to do it now. All right, so when I paused, I did on my calculator, and I got 3.5, I got a 4, and I got a 5. Let's go ahead and graph these. First, -1, comma 3.5. So that means I start at the origin, I go -1, and then I go up 3.5. Now we don't need to be perfect, but that looks like -1, 3.5, right? That's that point. So remember, when we see a table, that's the same thing as the point -1, comma 3.5. Okay, same thing here, 0, 4, that's the same thing as a point 0, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that, 0, 4, right here. And then I see 1, 5, that's the same thing, right? So I'm going to go over 1, up 5. And then I'm going to say, wait a minute. Let's scroll up a little bit. Let's go ahead and see that -1. Let's scroll up and see what happens with this 3.5. As you're scrolling, and keep scrolling, like go up to like -30. Do you see that we're never going to hit 3? It's going to keep getting closer and closer and closer to 3, but we're never going to hit 3. That's because we've got a horizontal asymptote right here at 3. And so when we draw our exponential graph, what we're going to do is we're going to honor the fact that we're going to get super duper duper close to the asymptote, but we're never going to touch it. And then we're going to go through these 3 points. And then as we know, as we're learning in class, that exponential functions, they shoot up rapidly, right? So it's going to look something like this. We'll put an arrow on both sides. This is our graph. So now let me take a look at the time real quick, make sure I'm still going. I am. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some patterns here that we can already notice. Let's get pink out for patterns. I'm like, wait a minute. See this +3? And my asymptote, did it ask me for my asymptote? Yep. Y equals 3. It's like, that number at the end is my asymptote. Let's see if that was true for the first one that we did. Well, there's no number here, right? And if there's no number, bloop, that means a +0, right? That we don't write +0. We just don't write anything. But if you don't see a number here, you're like, my horizontal asymptote is at y equals 0. All right. So this is what you're going to have to be doing on the test, using your table function on your calculator, plotting your points, and then remembering things, either by scrolling and seeing what number it doesn't hit, or just do the easy way. The number at the end, that's where our asymptote is going to be.